How do you want to treat people? How do you want to be treated? And remember that if you want to grant yourself some freedom, then you have to accept that you also need to grant it to others, right? That is the ethical and moral values of your life, right? If you want to be free, then you have to give other people freedom. To go forward in 2025 boldly as a victor and not as a victim. Now, in life, we're going to face a lot of challenges. And I have, you will, everybody does. There is no easy life. There is no sailing on the blue ocean all the time, right? So there are storms and ups and downs and waves and currents, and that will always be. That's how sailing through life is. I have sort of created my own sort of metaphor to how to show people like a seesaw, a seesaw, the toy we play with as a kid that we played out in the playground, up and down, right? And that's how most people go through life in endless cycles of up and down, and they have a hard time balancing it out. Happened to me too in the past, right? So one way, and I would like to explain that to you, what I think about that, and then I will share a personal story. Now, if we take this little chart here I made, little drawing. Now we have our balance bar, right? Our success bar, as I would say. This is our seesaw. And that is balanced by the two most important things in our life. It's our IQ, intelligence quotient, and our emotional quotient, our EQ. How well we think, and I believe IQ can be altered. It can be built up. It can be trained. You can learn. We are having a brain that is plastic, right? It is neuroplasticity. We can build new neurons. We can form new neurons. We can lengthen our telomeres. We can rebuild and train a new brain. You can be another person next week than you are today by a lot of exercises and doing things. Every time you learn something new, you form new neuron pathways and you become a new person. So your EQ and your IQ can be changed all the time. You can build them, you can repair them, you can regenerate them, and you can become better you all the time. So how well you're versed in these is up to you, right? Now, your upbringing in childhood, your parents, your school system, etc., may have given you some advantages here or disadvantages. You need to work on them. If you have some advantages, great, move forward with those. If you have disadvantages, as many of us have, I had a terrible childhood, but that's no excuse. Then you just need to work on them, right? I had a lot of challenges. I learned to work on them, so can you. But this seesaw based between your emotions and your IQ and how you deal with things is based on your adversity quotient. How good are you at facing adversity, right? Because that is always what tips us off in one way or the other, right? Particularly the emotions, right? EQ. That balances off the adversity quotient. So how good are you with adversity? How much adversity have you faced? Because the more you faced, if you learn how to deal with it, then you become better. If you have emotional breakdown every time or flares up, then you might not necessarily learn the right things, but you can, right? But the more adversity you face that you can overcome and deal with successfully, the bigger your adversity stone become, sort of your axles that you are driving on here. And the greater the axle is, the more stable it becomes, right? Because it's easier. If you have a small pellet here and you balance, and you're going to go up and down very easy. But the bigger the surface of your adversity quotient is, the more stable your platform standard is going to be. Your seesaw is better balanced, right? So if you're one of those lucky persons that haven't had adversity in your life, I don't think there's many of us around, but if you're one of those, then build up some adversity. Do courses or training. Learn something that takes you out of your comfort zone, right? Push yourself outside your comfort zone. Experience new things, right? I know. Go mountain climbing or challenge yourself to caving or run a marathon or, join a voluntary association or something. Go help somewhere, right? Like face difficulties with a plan, with a support system, and you can come with adversities, right? Take courses where you are pushed through stress testing or something, so you become better at adversity. You learn in productive ways to deal with adversity, right? And therefore your bar grows and your stone grows here. The actual, that your success bar is resting on to your IQ and EQ, right? So build that up. But when all shit comes to shove, in all honesty, everything I learned in my 57 years of life is this, that all is IQ, EQ, AQ, intelligence, emotions, adversity quotient. That has to be based on a foundation of beliefs, right? Of beliefs. My opinion. Now, granted, I'm a Christian, but whether you, and I'm not saying you have to be religious, that's not the point. Whether you want to, I don't care if you're Christian, Hindu, Jewish, Muslim, non-believer, atheist, it doesn't matter. What matters, well, I do believe it matters a little bit, but not in this case. What matters is that you have some ethics and morals and standards that you base your life on, some values for which you take your leadership from, your own life, from which you guide your life, your North Star in your life, the compass in your life. What is that, right? If you don't have that set out, you're gonna have built a house in sand, you're gonna sink down, you're gonna fall off, it's not gonna work. You're gonna have to have that. So you really need to, in my opinion, sit down and focus this and figure out what is right and wrong in your life, right? What is my ethics? What are my morals, right? What do I believe about myself and my existence and who I am? What do I believe about my reasons in the world? Why am I here? What is my operations? What is my modus operandi? What is my raison d'etre? What is my reason for being? Why am I here? What am I going to do? Right? What is my existential life built on? What is the whole existence about? Where am I going from here? Right? How do I want to be seen? How do I want to be treated? How do I want to treat other people? Right? How do I want them to see me? It's like, etc. Right? How do I see that world out there? Because the more you build this up, the more you face it. And every time you make a statement, question yourself, what's the pros and cons of that? Right? If I believe this, doesn't mean I don't believe that. And is that a true or a false statement? Right? So you actually work through. You might actually find out that your current belief system, your current religion is hogwash, right? Most of us had gone through that one. Me too, at a time, right? We have to go through that. What? We suddenly find out that what we believe is not true once we question our thoughts and our beliefs and really challenge them and say, well, if I believe this, that means I don't believe that. Or if I don't believe that, do I then believe this? Right? So challenge yourself, because as you build the foundation here, you build a really strong foundation to put your adversity quotient upon. And once you have that, you have a much more stable platform. And now, because you have that, your EQ and IQ is going to grow through the roof, right? Now you have a solid platform to build your life on and your success and go on, right? So I really suggest you do that. Place down to that. How do you want to treat people? How do you want to be treated? And remember that if you want to grant yourself some freedom, then you have to accept that you also need to grant it to others, right? That is the ethical and moral values of your life, right? If you want to be free, then you have to give other people freedom. If you want to have freedom of speech, then you also have to grant other people freedom of speech, even when you don't like them or disagree with them, right? That's the whole point, whether you're ethical or non-ethical. Are you a stable person? Do you believe what you preach? Do you practice what you preach, or do you just preach? We see a lot of that today, and I've seen a lot of that in the last decade, with a lot of preaching about freedom of speech, except for those we don't like, right? Or disagree with. And sometimes the people you disagree with actually win the election, and now you're going to have to come face reality. That's how it is for some people in this part of the Western world. Now, my point to all this is the very fact that your beliefs directly influence your thoughts, and your thoughts directly influence your emotions, and your emotions comes out in the form of your actions. So if you're having the wrong actions, it is because you're having the wrong emotions about a certain thing. And the reason you have the wrong emotion is because you're thinking the wrong thoughts about that thing. And the reason you're thinking the wrong thoughts is because your belief system is not okay, right? You have not mapped out your foundation. You haven't laid the foundation for your life yet. And therefore you're having problems getting success in life. It's that simple. If you're having the wrong actions, you need to fix your beliefs, so you can think the right thoughts that will lead to the right emotions that will result in the correct action. That's really that basic. This is life philosophy 101 right there. That's, if you get this fixed in your life, if you figure this out, you're gonna see success like you never dreamt of before. So I suggest 2025, you start building on this. Writing down your belief system, testing them, working through your adversity, putting yourself outside your comfort zone so you can build up your adversity quotient. Learn something, study, test yourself so your EQ and your IQ grows so they become balanced in your life, and your success bar will be set higher and higher and higher, and you will gain that success.